Hello, everybody. My name is Vani. I'm the founder of Tax Relief Central. Today, we are going to look at a couple of important topics. The first one is what is tax compliance, and the other one is why is it important? So, in short, tax compliance means that all tax returns have been filed on time and taxes have been paid on time. And a taxpayer needs to take the following measures to get into tax compliance. So, first of all, they need to file all the tax returns on or before the due date. And if you're an employee, you have to make sure that sufficient taxes have been withheld to cover your tax bill. If you are a self employed individual, then you have to timely make the estimated tax payments for each quarter as required. If you're a business, then payroll taxes need to be deposited on time for each period, and all future tax returns that are due must also be timely filed. So, if you're a self employed individual, the quarterly filing due dates are April 15, June 15, September 15, and January 15. If you're a business, then the employer needs to file and pay the taxes that are withheld from the employees on a quarterly basis with the Form 941. So, why is tax compliance important? A taxpayer needs to get into compliance and maintain compliance to avoid getting into trouble with the IRS. If they fail to file a tax return or filing a tax return that has a balance due amount on it, it's going to set off a host of problems with the IRS, including penalties, tax notices, and a lot of stress. And if a taxpayer's account gets into collection division inventory, then the IRS is going to start collection activity against such taxpayer. So what that means is initially they will send a bunch of notices asking for money. And if a taxpayer continues to ignore those notices, then they're going to file a federal tax lien on the assets that are owned by the taxpayer if the balance due is more than $10,000. And if the taxpayer still continues to ignore those notices, then they're going to start levy action, where they can place a levy on your bank account and go after your wages or other sources of income. And if you're a business, in extreme cases, they can also seize your assets. So tax compliance is also important because it's one of the uh, requirements to get into problem resolution with the IRS. So usually when there is a delinquent taxpayer that wants to resolve back taxes and wants to get into an agreement with the IRS looks closely at such taxpayers because they want to make sure that the taxpayer is going to stop pyramiding the amount owed. What that means is, let's say a taxpayer owes money for the years 2015 through 2018. So they want to make sure that the taxpayer would have paid the 2019 taxes and that he or she is not going to tack on the 2019 liability with the old, the back taxes for the prior years. And that not only for 2019, but the future taxes, that is the 2020 estimated taxes, the taxpayer has the ability to pay those. And the IRS wants to make sure that even that is not going to end up on top of the other taxes that that person already owes the IRS. So the IRS makes sure that the taxpayer stops pyramiding by ensuring that the taxpayer is making the estimated tax payments. And so that means the taxpayer is already in compliance with the current year and future year, and that they're also going to file all the tax returns timely. And if the taxpayer falls off track, then any agreement that is made with the IRS is also off the table immediately, and the taxpayer has to start the whole process all over again, trying to resolve the back taxes and trying to get into some sort of a payment arrangement with the IRS. So when they do this, they would have to then resolve not only those back taxes, but also any current liability that has been incurred for current tax year. Then, so for anyone that's trying to get into a resolution in regards to their tax problems, tax compliance should be the primary focus, because without getting into compliance, the IRS is not going to be willing to negotiate some sort of a resolution with an individual or a business. And the general understanding is that when an individual or a business is current with their taxes, they're most likely to be protected from collections such as bank levies and garnishments. It also shows that the individual or the business is making an effort to get things back on track and make things right with the IRS. In such cases, IRS is more willing to work with them and resolve their tax debt and also give them additional time by placing a hold on their account. And when the taxpayer reaches an agreement with the IRS, the taxpayer is expected to remain in compliance. So what are the next steps? The first thing you need to do is make sure you file your current tax return on time. If you're not ready, file an extension. And this applies obviously for 2020 because we're already past with the tax filing timeline for 2019. So if you owe taxes, make sure you pay them by the due date of the return. The extension only allows you to file the tax return later. It does not extend the time to pay. And if you have any unfiled tax returns, make sure you get them filed too, because you cannot make an agreement or reach an arrangement with the IRS until the IRS knows what your actual tax liability is going to be, or unless you yourself know what's your total tax liability going to be. So make sure you file all those back taxes. And if you're not able to pay, then you can always set up a payment plan with the IRS. And the sooner you do this, it will be better for you, because it will help minimize the penalties and interest, and also no collection action will be taken against you if you're diligently making the payments as per the arrangements made with the IRS. You can also request penalty abatement based on either reasonable cause or administrative waiver, or both. And if you need help with any of the IRS tax problems, please feel free to reach out to us. Our number is 602-904-6535. And check us out on www.getmytaxrelief.com. Give me a call with any questions. I do offer 1 hour free consultation. So feel free to reach out to me at 602-904-6535. Hope you enjoyed the presentation, and thank you for joining us.